What is FOIL and why do we even need it? What's the point of foiling? Well, it's when you have more things to multiply together than you know what to do with. Let's just pick, first of all, let's look at distributing a number across a uh, something in parentheses. So if we have 5 times x plus 4, that's pretty easy to do. And I highly recommend that you set up your equation on your notebook and you go step by step and don't skip any steps or try to do it in your head. You're much better off doing it line by line and use the equal sign. Good grief. That really helps center your thinking. So you have to multiply the 5 times each item inside. It becomes 5 times x is 5x. 5 times 4 is 20. And you have just distributed that number inside the contents of the parentheses. It doesn't matter how many things you've got in parentheses. 15 times x plus y plus z squared plus 20 equals something. So you still have to distribute the 15 for everything on the inside of the parentheses. That's just how it works. 15x plus 15y plus 15z squared plus, what is that, 300? I think it's 300. If it's not, you can correct me. But, you know, I say never trust a math teacher. You figure it out on your own. I'm going to show you stuff, but your testing and your stuff that you turn in you're responsible for it. I'm not. So be sure that you double check everything and make sure that it's the way you think it should be. All right, so that is, what if you had two things? If you had x plus 4 times x plus 3 equal sign, how are you going to do that? You could just do it on your own. You say, well, you know what? I'm going to multiply the x times everything, and then I'm going to multiply the 4 times everything. That's really what we're doing. But we have a cute little way to make that happen. And I'm going to show you that cute little way to make that happen. It's called FOIL, which you probably heard of. F-O-I-L. And you can do F-I-O-L if you want to. It doesn't really matter on the O and the I. But that's what we're going to look at, F-O-I-L. And we have x plus 3 times x plus 4 equal sign. So the FOIL is, this is the first two that you multiply together. And this is the outer. Then you multiply these, that's the outer. And then you multiply these, that's the inner. And finally, you multiply these, and that's the last. So does that make any sense at all? So you multiply the first two, the x times the x. Then you multiply the outer, which is the 4 times x. And then the inner, which is 3 times x. And then the last, which is the last two numbers, the 3 times the 4. Does that make sense? I really hope it does. I mean, that's how you FOIL. So let's look at this. X times x is x squared. And then we have 4 times x is 4x. And then 3 times x is 3x. And then 3 times 4 is 12. Now, one of the beauties of FOILing is you wind up with common factors in the middle of your setup. And so we have 4x plus 3x. What does that equal? Well, because they're both multiplied by the same thing, you get to multiply the coefficients. The coefficients are the numbers in front of the variables. So if we can add that, if we can add 3 plus 4, hopefully you know that's 7. X squared plus 7x plus 12 is we FOILed it. That's how FOIL works. Let's do another one. How about x minus 4 times x plus 3? You know, very similar. I like 3 and 4, okay? So the first two is x squared. The outer is plus 3x. So in the inner, we have a problem. We have a negative 4 and an x. So negative 4 times x is negative 4x. Negative 4x. And then negative 4 times 3, do you know what that is? If you multiply a positive and a negative, you get a negative number. So 3 times 4 is negative 12. Got my little equal signs here. Now you combine. How are you going to combine 3x and negative 4x? You're going to have 3 minus 4. So that means that you're going to get the difference between 3 and 4. But the absolute value of the number, the biggest number, that sign wins. In this case, negative. So it's going to reduce to x squared minus x minus 12. And that is how it reduces. And that's something. All right, let's look at another one. So we're going to have negative x minus 7 times x plus 5. Get some new numbers up there. Give 7 and 5 a chance to be in the highlight. Okay, so what is negative x times x? Well, it's going to be, unlike signs are going to be negative. All like signs are positive. When I was in high school, I didn't want to memorize 2 rules. I memorized just 1 rule. All like signs are positive. Positive and positive is always going to be positive. But a minus times a minus is positive. Then I didn't have to memorize that a plus and minus is negative and a minus and a plus is negative. I don't know if that makes sense. Hit me up in the questions if you want to know more about that. Anyway, so x times x is negative x squared. And then the outer is negative x times 5 is negative 5x. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. And then negative 5 times 5 is negative 35. Look at all those negatives. And now we're going to subtract 5x minus 7x. And that's just going further on the number line so that you get to add those up together, and it's still going to be negative. So 5 plus 7 is 12. And if you don't memorize that, you could do it in your head by thinking 7 is 5 plus 2. And you know that 5 plus 5 is 10. And then add that 2 you set aside. I kind of have a billboard in my mind, and I do things like that to do some mental math. Negative x squared minus 12x minus 35. And that is the foiling of that particular polynomial. So, or quadratic equation, whatever you want to think of it. So that's how that works. If that doesn't make sense, ask me some questions. But I hope that makes sense on how to FOIL things. Thank you so much.